Good morning, this is Larry at LarryRicker.com, and in this video I'm going to cover how to internationalize an application. It's going to be an iOS application, and it should include all the steps of internationalization in it. I've just finished creating a container app, and there's a few strings in the existing app that I added during this process, and I'm going to update the internationalization for that app. Internationalization, or it's also called localization, refers to the process of taking an application that's built in a particular language, and that could be English or Russian or Hindi or whatever your language is, and then you get all the strings that are in the base language and you convert them into other languages. So this app is written in a base language of English, and I'll be converting it, or it is converted already, to German and Spanish and French. So I'll be updating those languages in the process of this video. If you like this video, click on the like button below. You can subscribe to my channel and check out my apps in the Apple App Store. They include the Project Organizer, the Project Organizer Pro, the Class Organizer, Class Organizer Pro, Opportunity Organizer, Opportunity Organizer Pro, and the Student Organizer Pro, as well as the Job Hunt and the Job Hunt Pro apps. Okay, the first step in internationalizing an app is to locate the strings and then wrap a macro around them. Whether they're in Swift or they're in Objective-C, you're going to have to wrap a macro around them so that the process can pull out the strings and export them into an XLIF file, and then you can use that application such as Counterparts to translate the apps. It's just an editor for the XLIF file. It seems to be the best one I've found, and this is one I purchased and I use. You can use whatever XLIF, that's XLIFF, file editor that you find. If you find a better one, you can use that instead. But I'm using Counterparts, and the icon looks like this. So first step is going to be to locate the strings. Now I know that I updated the status report settings file, so I'm going to pull that one up. Okay, so I added some new methods in here, and in the process I didn't localize those. So let me look for those. Yeah, it was this method, and I thought of it when I started to do this video, and those are some of the reminders built into my app. So this method, I didn't put a wrapper on it to localize. What this method's doing is it's taking the bundle ID and then it's localizing the name of the app based on the bundle ID, but then the bundle ID for this app would be Project Organizer, but because it's a container app, it contains other apps inside of it. So the localized names here, I didn't localize those. So the process to localize is to add a wrapper around that, and then it has two arguments. First one's the key, and then the second one's a comment. I guess editor decide to add that. To make this process easier, I can just swipe this string and its localized string, the method name, and then just insert it in front of each of these. And you have to localize only the strings that are displayed to the user. And so that's not all strings. And to give you a for instance, I don't want to localize the bundle ID or the in-app purchase ID, as if the bundle ID was translated into German, it's not going to match the bundle ID in my programming logic. So that would be an example of a string that you wouldn't want to localize. But anything that displays to the user should be localized. And just to demonstrate that, these strings will show up on this tab, and it'll show the app name right here. So it'll be used in this rate button. It'll be used here in the app name and the app name down here. But this bundle ID is going to remain in English because that needs to be used in the programming logic for these comparisons. And if that's in a different language, it's not going to work. And this is tedious, but there's about between 700 and 800 strings in this app, and you're not going to watch me update all those because they're already done. But I'm just trying to demonstrate the process here. So this would be an example here. I don't want to localize this string because that's going to be used in programming logic. Now, I may have remembered every change I made, but I may not have. So to kind of figure that out real quick, I'm going to do a comparison against my Git repository to see if there's any other changes that are in this module. So I'm going to use the version editor. And it's going out to my Git repository, seeing what versions are available. And at this time, these are, actually it may be showing a difference already. Okay, so this is a difference. I've added these localized strings. That's fine. So let's do a comparison going back to, let's go back to I could go back to November. Let's see what other changes I've made and see if there's any other opportunities to localize. That's just a comment. These are image names, so I don't want to localize image names because they're going to be the same in every language. And these bundle IDs are going to be the same because they're not displayed to the user. The images are, but I need the file names to remain the same. So I don't want a German name to my image files. Again, image file names. Okay, this is one I've already localized. Got some comments. I did remember to localize these things when I added them. This is a modification of some logic, so there's no strings to localize there. This is localized already, as this is as well. It says it's pulling in the contained app. So when the contained app gets pulled in, that'll call that method. It's localizing there, and it'll pull it into a normal NS string. So it doesn't need to be an NS localized or internationalized string, localized string with format, even though it is a string. And that email message there is localized string with format, and then each of these elements is localized already. I could use localized string with format on this method, but there's no text in it to localize, so I won't bother. This is internationalized with the localized string with format. This is already localized. As is that. I think that's going to be pretty much it at this point. Okay, this is using the localized string with format, so that's good. Okay, that's localized string with format. That's all using the NS localized string. That's using localized string with format and the NS localized string. Okay, so I look like I've captured all my changes and updated those, so I'm good. Let's go to the next step. Okay, to localize and get the option to localize, you need to select the main part of your project. So you have to unfilter the list and then click on the main app project organizer. And then a new option will appear. Okay, so to get the option to localize, you need to go back and you have to click on your app. You've got to get out of the version editor and get back into the standard editor. And then the options under the editor menu. So click on editor, and if you're adding languages, this is where you add them. But I'm not going to add. I'm going to export for localization. and I'm storing all my localizations in the same directory under local. And I'm going to create a new directory. Okay, I'm in the local folder. And then I select the translations that I want. I'm going to use Spanish, English, German, French, as well as the other English versions. And then I just save in this directory. Okay, it appears that the localization has finished exporting. So now I can go to the local file system. So I'll launch Counterparts, Counterparts Lite, which is the XLIF editor. So I'm going to navigate to the XLIF files where I put them in the new directory. It'll create a directory called the name of your app, and under that it'll put all the XLIF files. So this is New Zealand, we've got Australia, India, Canada, and then we've got language-specific localizations for French, German, English, Great Britain, and Spanish. So the localization will look at a combination based on proprietary logic that Apple doesn't really give you complete visibility into it, but it's going to primarily first localize on the language and the region, if the language and the region is available. If only the language is available, it'll localize on just the language. So for Spanish, German, and French, it'll be just the language, and then English, it'll be depending on the region. So let's go with Spanish first. Okay, so I see 106. So this is the items that haven't been translated. 1,008 have been translated, and so what I'll use is this selection to just select the ones that have not been translated. I'm not going to translate these macros, so there's not much there. Then I've got the names of my apps, which I do need to localize. And then I've got some messages here that appear to have changed or got added. And again, the name of the apps. Now there's duplication here, so the names of these apps is the same as the names of these apps. So I want to turn on a feature where it automatically copies over the translation. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I've had problems with that in the past, so I'll show you a different technique. But if you want to turn on the automatic copy, you can use Preferences, and then you tick the box Auto Propagate Translations, and that will, if you do one, it'll do both of them at the same time if they're the same. So the process is I just copy the reference, and then I'll go into Google and go to the Translate app, and I'll choose English, and I use this button to copy the translation to my clipboard. I'm going to reverse the translation and see if the text matches. If it matches, I'm good. If it doesn't match, I'm going to have to change some words up and get it to match, or try to reflect a meaning that is the same in both languages. So it's this is easy, it worked. So let's just go back to counterparts, and then I'll just paste it in here. And I'm going to manually propagate the translation. So that'll bump 2 of those off the list. So now it dropped to 102 items that haven't been translated. So the next one, I copy the reference. Got to put the left to be English, which is my base language. Yours would be whatever language you speak. Presumably English if you're watching this video. Now, that just translated pro as professional, but it's kind of similar, but to really reflect the meaning, I want it to say full, spell out professional, just in case. Now that's exactly the same. Okay, I could go with the pro then. You want the strings to be as short as possible so they fit on the screen, but at the same time long enough so that they reflect the meaning. Looks like a pretty good translation. So now we're down to 101. When I tabbed out of that, it automatically knocked it off the list, so I know that same string was down here somewhere. So before you tab out of it, you should right-click Propagate Translation, and then it'll disappear. Now you're down to 98, so that did four of them. So next, it's kind of good. I'll probably want de and classe to be capitalized, so I'll make that adjustment after I copy it. So I'll make those changes here. And then I'll right click and propagate. And now we're down to 94. Seems to be exactly the same, which usually means it didn't really translate. That looks more like a translation. And it looks like it reflects the same meaning. Yeah. Again, I'm going to add the capitalization here because I want, when it shows up on that tab, to have capitalization as if it's a title, because it is the name of my app. So now we're down to 90. And we're not going to get to 0 because there's all these macros in here. Looks like a reasonable translation. Reflects the same meaning. And I'll fix the capitalization here. And then propagate the translation. I do it manually. As soon as you tab out of that field, it auto-propagate. Now we're down to 86. I kind of liked the way it translated when I had professional spelled out. Yeah. I like the reverse translation. And the capitalization's mostly right. Now we're down to 82. There's no fast rule on what works best. It seems very inconsistent, but I do like translation like that. But I still don't feel professionals really translated. Now that's Spanish. And it reverse translates, so we'll just go with that. Now we're down to 78. Don't want to translate these. Actually, I'm kind of shocked that they're even showing up in the list. That could be a defect. But I'll never translate a bundle ID. That's the core of my logic for making the app work. Now that translated nicely, and it changes spelling to profesional. In Spanish, estudiante, organizador, profesional. It looks good. Reverse translates nicely. Student professional organizer, yeah. I'll fix the spelling or the capitalization. Okay, it looks like the remaining strings are ones I've already translated. So for consistency's sake, I'm going to copy the translation for each of these from what I had before. So I'll copy the reference. I'm going to click on this button to pull in all the references. I'll search. Then I'll locate one that is just translating schedule. These are all requesting translation, which kind of tells me that Apple might have fixed one of their bugs, but I can't be sure. So this is the same. I'll propagate the translation, and that copied it up to these other areas here, and that takes care of schedule. Now I'll just bump off these. I want to copy send. Those are all untranslated. Looks like that hasn't been translated. Strangely enough. Okay. I'm thinking Apple may have fixed one of their defects. They were not previously translating the tooltips, and it caused me to have to make 6 copies of the interface builder, which I wasn't very happy about, but gotta do what we gotta do to get this out. Send and submit. Not really totally happy with that. Now, it may offer, okay, 15 more translations. Kind of thinking this translation's best. So copy that one, reverse translate it, and that looks like a cleaner translation. Probably want to Recordarios just to be consistent with the rest of the app. Here it is. Yeah, that's it right there. So I'll just propagate this one. Oh, I see. It's Recordario versus Recordarios. That is... oh, here's one. Okay, that took care of them. So next we'll do done. Acceptar. Title. I think that's like título. Different. Estado. Título might have been French. Okay. Don't think this one's going to be translated. No. We have to translate this. Oh, it's using título. Interesante. Okay. Good. I'm gonna take another look at title. Oh, that's totally wrong. Now, it's not going to propagate unless titulo is, estado is blank in all of them. So even if I propagate this, it's going to leave other ones untranslated. Yeah, do it again. It's always easy to do stuff twice. So we'll copy the translation and then look for any other references. I don't like this Estado translation. That one's good. And if there's multiple references to something in your app, it's going to have multiple entries for the same thing in the localization, which is fine because you may want to have a different translation in each instance based on the context. Just seems a little redundant. Okay, I think we got all the titles. That looks like everything. Okay, so we're done with Spanish. We save that. It's Command S. Now, ready to move on to the next language. Let's go to German. Okay, so I see 28 here, so that means it has been translated before. Just propagate translation. That one's done. "24 references already translated." References already translated. Just propagate. "26 references already translated. Propagate." Seeing the same things, the tooltips and the app names. Okay, that has not been localized before. I'm looking at this number right here. So let's translate. Hit the wrong button. Reverse that translation. Looks good. Has not been translated. Doesn't seem to make much of a difference. We'll go with it. I like that Klassenorgenasser. It's Germans like to make everything like one word. Put all phrases into one word. Yeah, I kind of like it. Could be down to the tooltips. Oh no, we got some more apps. Oh, let's see if it's already translated. Don't think we're going to get a translation on this one. Oh, there we go. Now, why couldn't it have used that before? Well, I can't propagate because they're already populated. don't know why information volume is coming up. That's strange.
It's 9
This
o'clock.
is not translated. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, it didn't pull in these tooltips on the previous version or release, so wow, what a lot of translations. So I'm sending an email, and in that context, it may be more like, well, it's a reference to email, not mail. And this is more like postal email being sent. I think email is sort of like broadcasting transmission more than postal mail shipping things. So I think sending is probably okay. Reverse translates the same. Okay, that was easy. Save that, Command S. Then we'll go to the next language. We'll go to French. So now I think we're just down to the app names and the tooltips. Yeah. Okay. It's not translated. Ah, you know what? That wasn't what I wanted. I don't like the way it's behaving, so I'll just do this one by hand. Seems like more is less. That could have been easier. Really doesn't like that word professional. Making that a capital E is a bit tricky. There we go. So if I hold down the function shift and the E, it can pop up and then it gives you that letter. Then you can grab that letter and let's give her that E. Pop that in here. There you go. And then I want the professional from class organizer pro. Yeah. Now I think we're down to the tooltips. Yep, these are just the tooltips to translate. Okay, these tooltips come into play here. So we've got save schedule, reminder. I'm using programming, but schedule, I had a reference to that. I wanted to make that rendezvous. So yeah, so rendezvous. I wanted to change calendar to rendezvous, but actually it's schedule. Yeah, I like that translation better. Appointment. Yeah. See if I got them all. I think I got them all. Okay. Yeah, the tooltips were definitely a bug and not working in the previous version. In my next video, I'm going to translate into Italian, and I'll find out for sure if the bug is fixed. But I'm not going to rip out all those interface builder that I customized in each language until I get to Italian and confirm that it works for sure. And I'll change that next release. It won't change the functionality of the app. Got a few translations to choose from. There you go for the first one. 2 cent. $2. Okay, wait a second here. Ah. I think I like that Expediar better. I'm not even probably pronouncing it.
Envoyer.
No, wait, I want this one.
Expédier.
Expedier. I like that better. Reminders. Reminder. Let's see what I used previously. Yeah, a little inconsistent. I got alerte. And I kind of like alerte better. This is repels. To recall, return, recalling, withdrawal, echo. Memento, reminder. I kind of like that. Yeah, maybe repels is better. It's more consistent with the other translations.
Rappel.
Rappel. Okay. It does have a plural and singular version in translation, which is nice. Okay, we just have to translate done, and then we're done. I think we're done. Let's look at the English. I don't think there's going to be anything that needs to be localized in that, but I'll just take a quick look. So we did the French, German, and Spanish. The rest are all English. Okay, some of these need to be translated yet. Okay. Now, in Great Britain, organizer is spelled with an S. Since the base translation's in English and the localization is also English, there's really not much to do here. So I'm going to save Great Britain. We're also going to have to do India, Australia, and all the other colonies. New Zealand. Oh, and South Africa. Almost forgot South Africa. Okay, done with India. Let's go to New Zealand. Okay, we're done with New Zealand. Let's go. Okay, we're done here. I believe this is South Africa. There we go, South Africa. Which was that other one? Ireland. Oh, okay. Silly rabbit kicks her for trids. Okay, so that's Ireland. Here's South Africa. Okay, we're done with South Africa. Australia. All the rest of the colonies use ISE in organizer, and the United States and Canada decided to go with the Z. Okay, we're done with Australia. One more country to go. Canada. And Canada uses the same spelling. So it's kind of straightforward. Actually, this is not necessary, since it's the same translation. It'll just use the same name by default if I don't populate this. We did it anyway. Okay. Next step is going to be to import the localizations back into the app. And then test. Okay. So we have to put the cursor on the project organizer, the name of the app, editor, import localizations. So we'll just go from top to bottom. First we'll import Canada. Okay, after you import it, then you get this summary of the changes. Then if you want to see the ones that are changed, you click right here. You can swipe down the bar and look at the changes. Then click the import button when you're ready. Now you're ready for the next localization. I'm going to go with Australia next. So for Australia, we'll look at the files that have changed. And import it when you're ready. Now we're ready to import the next language. And import when you're ready. And ready for the next language. Import when you're ready. Okay, we're ready for the next language. Go with New Zealand. Import when you're ready. Okay, now we're ready for our next language. Go with India. Okay, let's take another look at this. Okay, import it when you're ready. Next, we'll get into testing. So let's start with the Project Organizer app. Okay, we'll create a new project. Let's go into that dialog again, hit the undo button, rename it. Okay, got all the saves done there. See, several of the apps are internationalized. Salud must mean health. Then you got Calendario, Configuración, Estado del Proyecto, and Organización de Proyecto. Here's the app here. It got renamed. So its name is Organizador del Proyecto. So, and the delete message is in Spanish as well. So let's open it up, let's see how we look. Okay, so the configuration screen, all in Spanish, except for the bundle ID. Not sure about the date format there. Well, it's United States actually. If I had done switch to Spain, it would have a different format. It seems to work. That worked. It looks like it's Spanish. Yeah, it looks like it's all in Spanish. That's all Spanish. Looks good. Okay, that seems to work. We did that already. Okay, what else we got? Search. Okay. Okay. There's a defect. So the send button does not work in Spanish. Oh, that was the Pro version? No, it's non-professional version. Okay. Okay, let's switch languages again. We'll go with German. Okay, now we're in Germany. So the name is in German of the app. No, that's not the right app. Yeah, Project Organizer. So that's the Project Organizer app in German. It's been renamed. Wow, this is a little different keyboard. Looks like it's all in German. Oh wow, they moved some of the keys around. Okay, send button works there. Works in German. Looks like the status is all in German. I wonder if that date's localized. No, I don't think that's the right format of date. Now that date format looks good. Okay, so what else would I check? Cancel. Looks good. Wouldn't even have all these separate interface builder interfaces if Apple didn't have a defect in not localizing the tooltips. But I think they fixed it now. But I just have a few buttons to fix. Is it really worth it for now? Maybe the next release I'll rip them all out. Okay. Now notice the app name, project in, or the file name, the attachment's actually localized into German. Didn't expect that, but that's a nice touch. Looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go switch languages again. Let's go with French. in French. Project status is in French. Settings, calendar. Some apps are in French. Okay, so not too many French apps. Okay, my two apps down here are in French. Jour de projet. Okay, so let's launch it. Okay, so we've got status. Looks good. Oops.
It's 8 o'clock.
Oh, date format is, oh. Date format is right on one. Oh, that's the one I did, I think. Yeah. Yep, right. Okay, now we'll test the app out in English, but I'm going to do it in the region of Ireland. Let's choose Ireland. So we're going to have UK English in Ireland. Does that make sense? Maybe. So now project organizer is spelled with an S, as in ORGANISER. That's the UK, Ireland, South Africa, India, Australia, and New Zealand spelling. Same here. Let's go into the app. Spelled with an organizer on the name of the app, but then down here the bundle ID is still project organizer with a Z because I can't change that or else it'll break the app, obviously, because all the logics for the behavior is all based on the organizer spelling. Send button works there. Everything is in English. Okay, now we're going to switch regions. I'll stay with English UK, but I'm going to go switch regions to... Actually, I'm going to kill the app. I'm going to rebuild it. Try out Spanish. Let's switch back to Spanish. Yeah, the app names change back to Spanish. So let's give a test. It's all Spanish. Let's try the NVR button. Okay, that's working now. I'm going to end this video and go look into that date format and see if I can get that date localized in those two places.